What would a healthy Mavericks squad have achieved after the Luka trade? We'll discuss that alternate universe next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carell, and, of course, our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. We are DLLS Mavs. Appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports. What would a healthy Mavericks squad have achieved after the Luka trade? We're going to explore some alternative universes today in the Mavericks landom as we discuss this team as we move that much closer to the NBA draft lottery coming up on Monday. A little bit later on in our show, we'll dial up the Stein Line with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, when the Mavericks and Lakers could get together next season. And we'll take our spin around Tankathon today to see where the Mavericks could potentially land.
Two spins.
We need two spins today? I think we got just one to get to today for sure.
We didn't do one yesterday.
Oh, we didn't do one yesterday. That's right. So we've got two spins to take when it comes to Tankathon today. Make sure you find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It's free. Search DLLS Mavs. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there on this wonderful Wednesday, as my daughter coined it this morning as we were on the way to school. Tim, how are you on this wonderful Wednesday?
I'm doing lovely. Sorry, I'm sitting tan or something.
You're good. Bobby, how are we feeling?
Pretty good. Day 2 without a laptop. Let's see if I get used to it.
Viceless.
Okay.
All right, I sent it.
How did you feel yesterday about your performance without the laptop?
I thought it was my best show yet.
Okay, all right.
But I'm saying humble.
Okay, so we're looking for 2 best shows in a row.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Stein, with all his devices, how are we feeling on this wonderful Wednesday?
Distracted.
Got it.
You got laptop. Mark has a laptop, a phone, a bottle of water, a cup, 2 phones, a cup of coffee maybe, and
a
then
microwaved cup of coffee.
Scribbled notes all over the place. Like you got a lot going on, man.
Got one for the plug, one for the low.
Where'd you get that pencil from? Like 1985? Like, what are we doing here?
Can we get a close-up of that, Tanner?
Yeah, can we get a close-up of that pencil?
I love a substantial pencil. I have I need a pencil with thick lead.
Is that's probably from the lead era, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the type of pencil that they were mapping out the Manhattan Project.
I'm very old school. I write my notes.
Just be careful. Don't sniff it too much, or don't stab yourself. Don't cut yourself.
I'm doing so many unhealthy things in myself that a little lead is just.
That's low on the priority list of unhealthy things that you got going on. I will have to find you a stylist at some point. Get you up to at least 2020.
No. Don't. I can't.
Oh, you can't even do the stylist.
No.
Okay, we'll work at that a little bit later on.
You ever put it behind your ear?
No.
Stein strikes me as a guy that was put the pencil behind the ear with the amount of hats that you wear.
But see, all my shirts always have this big pocket to hold my phones, which Mrs. Stein absolutely hates.
I once met someone who, within like 10 minutes of meeting me, was like, "You really give off pencil behind the ear energy," and I think about that to this day. I don't know, really compliment.
Yeah,
not.
Did
you ever try it?
Doesn't sound like a compliment.
Did you ever try it?
Doesn't sound like a story you should have shared with us and all.
I'll tell the rest of the story off air.
What's the last time we'll get to it?
With the pencil behind the ear?
I mean, like, how did I try it?
Like did you put the pencil?
Have I ever had to put a pencil behind the ear? Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
how did it
who
feel?
the hell hasn't done that? It's like a rite of passage.
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, just let us know. Have you put your pencil behind your ear, and how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, when I was working on the Manhattan Project, we had to.
Okay. Well, speaking of projects,
Los Alamos.
The Mavericks got a real project to get after this offseason, which is improving this team as they get ready for next year. That starts as soon as Monday, as they will find out where they are in the NBA draft lottery. We'll have our watch-along right here on DLLS Sports.
Hang on. TW in the chat says, completely healthy, they would have landed number 2. And by number 2, I bet he means pencil.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're just staying on theme.
Okay, we're just staying on theme. So let's jump into our first topic of the day, gentlemen, as we explore our guy Tim Cato's Mavericks exit survey. Prior to the Luka Dončić trade, what, in terms of the team, had become reasonably healthy? What did you believe the likeliest outcome would have been for this team if they had stayed healthy and not made the trade for Luka Dončić? Let's start there, gentlemen.
Yeah, so I feel like we've talked about like 7 different times this season and did like what if the team were done healthy? What if they had stayed healthy after the trade? What if they hadn't? The future. But I wanted to put it up as a fan survey. And so in March I did a fan survey. Usually I don't do the midseason. But that one, 5,500 responses. It was very focused on Luka and the fan emotions and everything that stemmed from it. Would you like in what conditions would the trade have been excited? All that stuff. You can go back and listen to that show. It's on alldlls.com, the results. But it did typically after a season, I do what I call an exit survey. And I knew this was going to be way smaller. Ended up with about 400 responses. I didn't push it as hard. And just the state of the fan base is not engaged. Not engaged like sometimes it is. I think we all understand that. So a lot smaller sample size for this one, but I still think it's worth going through and worth just checking in on what people feel about the Dončić trade, about the team, about what the team would have done before and what the team would have done after. And so that's the 2 questions that we're leading off with today. And prior to the Dončić trade, if the team had become reasonably healthy, what did you believe was the likeliest outcome for this season? A lot of people, the majority response, conference finals lost. It would have got back, but the likeliest outcome, and I bolded likeliest. I didn't want to say, I wanted to ask people like, if you had to pick what was probably going to happen this year. A lot of people thought they were going to get back and then have a really tough series against the Thunder, and a lot of people were like, okay, maybe not for sure they're going to get past that. And I think that's reasonable.
Well, more than half the people thought they would make it to the finals.
Yes.
Which is, I guess that makes that kind of by default that 56% of respondents
fair enough
think the likeliest outcome was getting back to the finals. I would be careful ever thinking that getting to the finals is likely.
Right.
It is not easy to do. But definitely expectations were super high. I mean, I guess that's doing some quick math in my head. More than 92% of people that responded thought the Mavs would at least get to the conference finals.
Yeah, because I think the answer that struck me a little bit more just looking at that was the fact that they felt that at minimum they were going to get back to the conference finals, which is a deep, deep playoff run no matter what kind of season that you've had. To get that deep into the postseason, a lot of teams obviously don't necessarily get there. So to think that was the floor was getting back to the conference finals at minimum, I think just gives you that much more indication on what they thought this team was going to be if they had been reasonably healthy. And
I think they had like a 50-50 chance to get past OKC. It's maybe would have leaned one way or the other if the team was healthy. As we keep getting more evidence and anecdotes, and keep watching the Thunder, maybe it swings one way or the other. Obviously, we didn't get a lot of info on what the team could have been before the trade, but if they had stayed healthy, I do think that they avoid the Thunder side of the bracket. I think that's pretty sure. I think they're for sure the 2nd or 3rd seed, and the 3rd seed was the Lakers. The Lakers were very boosted by the trade that happened. If the trade doesn't happen, the Lakers aren't up there. You have to think that, even in this scenario where Lively's still hurt and he doesn't come back until later, but if the team stayed reasonably healthy, and in my estimation, that means Luka comes back, Kyrie doesn't have an ACL, and Gafford probably doesn't miss the whole season as well, or most of the rest of the regular season.
And as Lone Star Rob accurately points out, championship games wasn't on the list. You're exactly right. Not necessarily on the list. Let's keep going then. So after the Dončić trade, if the team had stayed reasonably healthy, what do you believe the likeliest outcome would have been for this season?
I think this is pessimistic. And sorry, I know we gotta read this for the podcasters. Mm-hmm. Sorry if we didn't fully enunciate that on the first one. About 60% believe the team was going to lose in the first round. 29% believes it was going to be a semifinals loss, and then you can see the percentages from there. The next most, which is probably going to be 12%. I can check that but probably about 12% believe they would have lost in the conference finals, and then very slim margins for finals win or finals loss. I think this is a little pessimistic based off the way the question was set up.
I guess it depends on matchups, but yeah, I mean, I think
8% conference
like
finals.
the only team, if it's perfectly or reasonably healthy, Kyrie, AD, Gafford, Lively, Clay, all that whole group, PJ, I would definitely pick OKC against the Mavs under those circumstances. Other teams, not too sure. Like, I feel like the Mavs would have had a pretty good chance to beat anybody in the West outside of the Thunder, maybe even the Thunder. Who knows? I mean, well, that's a super hypothetical.
I had some postseason concerns, even when the trade happened. I think
the Clippers would have been really tough for the Mavs.
I mean, we saw the Clippers were really tough.
Yeah,
you know,
that was without Kyrie, but still,
it was without Kyrie, but they couldn't defend them.
Yeah,
you know, there was like multiple point of attack creators.
Yeah, no Harden, no Kawhi answers.
Yeah, like I thought that was a huge issue for Dallas, and I also thought it was a huge issue that as benches stopped playing, you know, as minutes ramped up, that Kyrie's workload, which was already going to be substantial to end the year, I thought as that kept ramping up, it was just going to ask more and more and more of him, and I thought it was more likely that he was going to have, you know, at least a dud a series. Where just everything, like, you know, you just can't rely on, you know, it's really tough to ask him. And he's never been someone who has consistently performed every single game of a playoff series as the number one option. That's just, he's never been asked to do that. Never. And so I was very concerned about that stuff. That said, I thought they were going to be an awesome regular season team. I thought they were going to roll through the rest of the regular season for the most part, because I thought that defense they had would be really good on a night-by-night basis. I thought there was more concerns for the postseason. But because they were going to roll through the regular season, that means they were probably still going to finish top 3, top 4. So I was high on their chances to beat any first-round opponent.
Isn't this a torturous hypothetical, though?
How so?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like that was the vibe last night. Like, I'm just seeing so many Mavs voices on social media, just seeing, you know, road team has won every game we've seen in the second round, 5-0 so far. Playoffs have been chaos, comebacks galore, and I just feel like the natural thing is like, we were going to roll, we were going to the finals, and like, I think it is a reflection of the frustration because and one of the many things about the Luka trade that none of us can still quite figure out is they had worked so hard to build a team that fit around Luka. And this was the best construction they had around Luka, and that ground ball was not run out. Like,
I think even after the trade, though, like, there's plenty of reason to think that with them fully healthy, I mean, apparently not. Like 60% thinks that they would lose in the first round.
Even if healthy, they have enough guard play. You think to really go far?
I think it depends on the matchup.
I do think
it depends on the matchup.
I'm also reading the short answers, and I think some people answered reasonably healthy, as in like if the Mavericks just got to the play-in and then the team was healthy. There's some people factoring in Kyrie's loss. I certainly meant the question and intended the question to.
Yeah, but without Kyrie, they're not beating anybody without Kyrie.
I just think, I don't know, the way Boston smothered Kyrie with Luka on the floor gives me some concern.
For sure. And I mean, that's where you need AD.
He just doesn't have, I mean, and that's the thing we saw, for the, you know.
I would have loved to have seen the 3 bigs of the Mavericks healthy go against Oklahoma City.
The fabled 2.5 quarters. That's all we have to go on. I mean, it's just stunning that that's all we've seen these guys play together.
But that's all that it will be all summer is like just, you know, there are a lot of, trust me, I see them all. There's a lot of people that are like, y'all need to get over it and move on or whatever. But like, no one knows what we're moving on to.
That's a great point.
We don't know what's at the end of this. It might be awesome. We're not going to know, though, for another year at least. And we might not even know a year from now if it's going to be awesome or not. So, you know, it is all hypothetical. And I think that even more than what
Monday when it gets awesome, 1.8% chance.
But even more so than when it was awesome last year and they're in the finals, and even more so than when they got off to this good start or whatever, like, it is really worrying to not know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's anything to look forward to. Clearly, a lot of people that respond to that survey don't think it would have worked. But I think it would have worked better than what they think, but I don't know that it would have worked that much better than what they think. But we're not going to know, and we might never know.
Just a couple quick comments. Post from the survey that was conducted. Post-trade healthy team really only had one playoff level ball handler. Forcing PJ to play the three was a terrible ripple effect of the trade. Somebody else said post-trade you had guys playing out of position, mainly PJ. Think the team still would have lost in the play-in if Kyrie was healthy. That's bold.
That's really pessimistic. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that.
Kyrie isn't Luka. He would get destroyed by the youth of OKC. Huge concerns about how that would have gone. One ball handler wasn't getting it off round one. Yeah,
that's probably good though. Kids watch those games.
Yeah, is that also a $25,000 fine? Kind of like Tyrese Halliburton's big balls dance, or do you get fined a little bit more for that?
I guess we'll find out here what Tyrese Halliburton's fine will look like. You can check out Tim's survey on alldlls.com. We'll break down a little bit more of it coming up here at next segment, where we grade the season of one Kyrie Irving, who, of course, had a terrific year prior to his torn ACL. What grade would you give Kyrie Irving based off the expectations that he had coming into the season? Plus, we'll dial out the Stein Line a little bit later on in our show right here on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
First, let me tell you about our friends at Mando. Folks, spring has sprung. It's hot. It's humid. I'm a sweater. And if you don't think that you're a sweater, you're lying. All right. And if you don't think that you stink if you spend too much time out sweating in the sun, you're lying. We got to protect ourselves, and it's more than just our pits. All right. Especially the dudes. Our whole body stinks. But with Mando, they have deodorant, stick deodorant. They have spray deodorant. They have wipes that are going to make your whole body smell great. Not only is it going to block all odor all day, but it's going to control that BO for up to 72 hours. All their products are baking soda free as well. They got all sorts of scents, including bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Just use code DLLS at shopmando.com. Again, shopmando, MANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe and everywhere in between with Mando.
Let me talk to all my ball knowers out there. When it comes to Sleeper, known for the best fantasy league platform out there, it allows you to put your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or at least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. If you took Tyrese Halliburton to have more than 20 points last night, you were a winner when it came to Sleeper. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. They keep you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries, so you can stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time, so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. So if you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use code DLLS Mavs to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. You can apply it to any contest as well. It doesn't have to be your first one. Remember, terms and conditions apply. So Sleeper's terms are used for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So make sure you check out Sleeper today. As we continue through our guy Tim Cato's Mavs exit survey, we took a look at some alternative universes in our first segment about what the Mavericks could look like healthy prior to the Dončić trade and after the Dončić trade as well. Continue to weigh in here on the DLLS Mavs podcast as well. Tanner, let's get to one of our super chats before we continue here on the show. And we go to Ozzy D with the $1.99 super chat. Bobby, we can't begin to move on until the 2030s.
That's a long way away. I choose not to wait that long, but we are leaping without a parachute into the great unknown, my friend.
We'll hopefully get some more clarity on Monday when we find out where the Mavericks will be picking in the 2025 NBA draft. We'll have our watch along right here on DLLS Mavs, and we will be reacting live right along with you when we find out where the Mavericks will be picking in the NBA draft coming up in June. Speaking of June, a former #1 overall pick in the NBA draft way back when with the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, a member of your Dallas Mavericks, helping the Mavericks reach the finals last year. Unfortunately, his season was cut short back on March 3rd due to a torn ACL. I'm talking, of course, about Kyrie Irving. What's so funny?
Nothing.
You're laughing. I want to laugh too, like Marc Stein.
No.
Oh, we do have a question. I want to answer this. Did you guys get tired of Bobby? Is that what you're laughing at?
That's what I was
Did
laughing
you guys get tired of Bobby losing with Sleeper all the time? That changed that read to KG.
Eyes on your own paper, all right? I had the Hawk stuff that's going to make me not smell terrible. Okay,
Maybe that can help him with his Sleeper
inspired
picks.
Mando read.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we kind of went around the room and was like, all right, who's best for this read?
Whose grundle is the most offensive?
The fact that you let off with
Grundle?
everybody as a sweater is hilarious, though. Like, that is
Dude,
wild.
it's like 9,000 degrees outside right now.
Give or take. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving and the season that he had. Based off of the expectations that you had for Kyrie Irving, what grade?
Well, let me set this up a second. So with these exit surveys, I always do based off your expectations, which if you're going into, I feel it's the best measure because I'm not interested in getting a bunch of, putting Dwight Powell when he got forced into the starting lineup, because JaVale McGee was terrible. Like, as a player, yeah, I mean, compared to Luka, he's probably a D or an F, compared to Luka that season, compared to who else was on that team? Well, it was really just Luka.
Damn.
But, that team, yeah, up until the trade deadline.
I know.
But I'm curious how people, did they over or underperform expectations? I think if I ever do this again, I might change it to a 1 to 5 scale because the letter grade is just so harsh. The letter grade has so much meaning behind it. Maybe I should have already done that. I thought about doing it this time. But the letter grade, at least everybody gets it. It's also tough for players like Anthony Davis, who we're going to get to, where the point of the exercise isn't to put incomplete. I want you to put a grade. I want to talk about a grade. That's the whole idea of doing this. I know that if I had an incomplete grade, that's the one I would select as well. But I'm trying to actually put grades onto the season. And Kyrie is similar because he missed the end of the year. But I made you go A to F, A, B, C, D, F. Very American of us over here. And I believe, overwhelmingly, it was A's, correct? Well, not overwhelmingly, it seems.
B?
B?
The
A lot
hell?
of B's.
So, grade Kyrie Irving season based on your expectations for him. 46.3% gave Kyrie Irving an A. 45.3% gave Kyrie Irving a B. 7.9% gave Kyrie a C.
All right, around 8% of respondents go to the principal's office. Seriously, that
You guys
is.
are all A's.
Oh my God, A plus plus
Yeah.
plus
Yeah,
plus
I'd give it
plus
A.
plus plus.
Yeah, I mean, those are slivers. There's always
Yeah,
going to be that
they're
in
all
any-
getting
in
held
any
back.
poll.
They're
In
sent
any
back to
poll.
first grade.
If I had to guess, it's that Kyrie, the lower grades are accounting for the fact that he wasn't up to the task of being the team's lone ball handler. Not to say that he should have ever been asked
That was
to.
never the expectation, though.
Correct.
I agree.
Correct.
I mean, I think the only case for a B is the availability, which, you know, and is that his fault? I mean, right before the injury, he was playing a ridiculous amount of minutes. You know,
and playing at an all NBA level.
you saw when the injury happened that, you know, it was initiated by a step on Valanciunas that was awkward. You know, after people at first thought, oh, this has to be a result of the heavy load he was taking, but it was a tangle with Valanciunas that led to the injury. When he was on the floor, he was an unquestioned A, and you could even say A plus.
And that's what we're doing this for. You know, I think over this week, next week, we're talking about players just going back to the seasons that they had, and we're starting off with your opinions, and those are important. But yeah, I think we disagree. You know, anybody who that this wasn't overwhelmingly A. I don't know how you get that from this season outside of the fact that just unfortunately he couldn't finish it, and you know that a couple times he was asked to do more than the expectations ever were for him. But he was awesome. I mean, he started a little slow, but
he still wound up
didn't.
finishing flirting with a 50-40-90 season. I mean, he averaged nearly 25 points per game in 50 games at 36 minutes of play. Shot 47.3% from the field, 40.1% from three, and over 91% from the free throw line.
How in God's name can you give that a B?
Yeah,
Right.
there's no way.
Question for you.
God.
Question for you, Bobby. For all of you guys, is it time for 50, 40, 90, the famed stat, to change from field goal percentage as the first modifier to 2-point percentage?
I honestly, I don't really have an opinion about that either.
I mean,
I
don't
really
think
care.
it's I don't have a strong opinion about it, but it's harder to get because increasingly players shoot so many of their shots as 3-pointers.
Lucky Pepe. Really was.
Go ahead and read it. You got to read it now. You got to
Yeah,
read it.
I'm making homemade hot wings for my wife, for my future wife, on our 1-year anniversary of our engagement. While missing Kevin's cute white cowboy hat, please give me a shout out. Incredible comment.
That's an amazing
KG, I
comment.
missed the cowboy hat too.
Same.
It was
Why
adorable.
did you go away from it?
I mean,
What's in the other studio?
And also, American Rodeo has come and gone.
yeah, the American Rodeo's
Yeah,
coming
but I
gone. The
think
Lone Star Smokeout is coming
It was
gone.
one of the few sources of levity and
Oh,
Should
joy.
I wear it
God,
for the George Pickens trade?
I
Should put it
just
on
think
for
it's
that?
completely absurd to give a dude a B for getting a torn ACL. Like, he was leading the league in minutes for like 3.5 weeks.
Yes.
And
I
like,
agree.
I mean, they beat, leading up to that injury, like before the All-Star break, they beat the Rockets, they beat the Celtics in Boston, they beat the Warriors, they beat the Heat. Like, Kyrie was like absolutely supermaning all across the entire NBA. He had 48 or 46
Hell, I give him
in
an A for
Denver.
stepping up to the free throw line with the torn ACL.
Oh my dude,
and
he's
knocking
just,
down the 2 free throws
like,
before he
it is
left.
absolutely like, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but some of you are very dumb. All right,
From
A plus.
he averaged almost 20. So if you exclude the game he returned and the game he got hurt, in the 18 games in between that, and again, the game he came back from a back injury. What?
Did he play half the season with a
Yeah,
whatever,
a
some
back.
undiagnosed,
slip,
Yeah.
slip disc.
contentiously diagnosed back injury?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he averaged in that span 27 points, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 46, 35, and 94.
Yeah, and that's using the great Derek Lively with ball screens and with Luka hogging double teams, right?
Oh, no.
Not at all.
Oh, no, it was using the 5-out spacing of Kessler Edwards.
Oh, God, dude, Kyrie's season was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Honestly, like, him suffering the injury and wasting that season and losing that season is almost just as bad as anything else that happened to the team this year.
Yeah, because as we mentioned earlier, again, he played at an all-NBA level. I mean, the guy he did everything that you could possibly ask for him, especially in the situation that he was put in after the trade was over.
Did I say he started slow? Scratch that, ignore me, I'm an idiot. I was thinking of 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, not great.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, he did take about a month to get in. This season was just awesome from the start. He had a where was it?
He
had
scored
a
40-something in Denver, yeah.
Yeah, 43
Yeah.
against Denver.
And they lost that game, I believe, and
On
it was not because of
17
him.
of 22 shooting.
Yeah,
43 points on 22 shots. Ethical King only went to the line 3 times.
that's what I'm talking about.
Would you guys like to guess the most free throws he had all season? Or how many times did he have double-digit free throws?
3,
2.
Wow.
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
Ethical
dude is
King.
like easily one of the best offensive players of all time, and he gets the whistle of a backup. Like, it is disgusting. But it's because he doesn't. Hey, ref! Oh my God! Foul! He doesn't do any of that. He just plays
Yes!
basketball.
Yes.
Please,
Please
God, I
get that
love
as a
watching
drop,
Kyrie
Tanner.
play. So I miss him. Oh my God, I miss watching Kyrie.
Who was that imitation?
Which
Anthony
one?
Edwards.
That was Ant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it was Cat.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Did you know?
Are we married? Like, what is going on here? Like this
Cat
it happens too often. Like, this is crazy.
Ant came into the league, and I feel like he really didn't do that stuff until he hung out with
my
Luka
gosh.
one year at All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just Luka's fault.
You
Oh
do
my
spend more time here than at home, almost, don't you?
That's a lie. That is a damn lie. I spend a lot of time at home. But as much time as I spend with Corella, we clearly almost have the same brain. Almost, because it's kind of
We
insanity.
finish each other's foul cries.
or Charlie Brown songs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of it is what it is. Shout out to TNT vibes. Oh my gosh, I can't stop laughing. Oh my
Kyrie doesn't do any of that. He just plays.
He really does.
And he kicks that dude's ass, and then the next guy comes and guards him, and he kicks their ass. You have to double team him to take him out of the game. And he's still going to probably hit you for 25 in the fourth quarter. Like, the dude is unbelievable.
He's tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie is tough as nails,
He can obviously be reduced in effectiveness sometimes against like the longest, most athletic, best defenders in the NBA at this point of his career. Also, at all points of his career. But then also, he could just have a moment where he's like, I'm going to ISO Wemby and score over him.
Yeah, dude, it was unbelievable.
That's one of the sickest plays he's ever had as a Mav.
Was that 2 years ago as well?
Against the Spurs? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was Wemby's rookie year. Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's the Mavs' responsibility, obviously, to not only replace his production as much as they can, as best they can while he's gone, but then also create a situation where when he comes back, he doesn't have to play 42 minutes a game again.
Yeah.
You know, like he can't.
Yes.
I don't need him doing that for the rest of his career unless it's like May or June.
And that's to me like the loudest question up there with the loudest questions of the offseason. Maybe not the loudest, but it's up. Like, how do they balance this backcourt? How are they going? They have to bring in someone with size, ball handling, and defensive capabilities to pair with Kyrie to make his life easier. You have to, when you're building this team, you're doing it with the vision of him being back, not just thinking about the start of the season when he's out until at least likely January. But like, how are they going to address that massive need in the backcourt? Again, you need someone with size, playmaking ability, and defensive ability, and you have no cap space. And I could see Bobby Carell is just itching to run through all the apron restrictions that are looming.
He's got
over
plenty of time in the offseason to do that.
208 minutes in a 5-game stretch.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It was all very avoidable.
It very much avoidable. Very much so.
It's actually so bad if you do nothing. It's just so bad.
It's easier to do nothing.
It sucks they didn't find Brandon Williams just a touch sooner. Like maybe he wasn't ready earlier in the season. That just happened.
They had to ride with the Goatman, dude. Come on.
Oh, shout out to our Goatman King.
Yeah. And there wasn't a need. I mean, I say there wasn't a need. Brandon Williams really could have been playing in January.
Well, he was hurt. Wasn't he hurt?
He was hurt. You're right. Yeah.
He missed a lot of time.
Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, we're going to dial at the Stein Line, where he's going to let us know when we could see the Lakers and the Mavericks get together next season.
Tomorrow.
Not quite. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day of every single minute of their lives. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endless aisles. You're talking to someone who they're in the flooring department. Once you finally find it, that labyrinth that is a big box store. But who knows what that person was doing? They're probably doing sinks yesterday. Might be doing light bulbs tomorrow. The day after that, might be doing Christmas. Gets here sooner every single year. Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? It's because they live and breathe flooring, and they're going to be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DLLS for full details.
Summer is on its way, and it's time to get ready for the season ahead with a pair of nice Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Of course, Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor activities. Hundreds of options to choose from. They may even have a pair in your team's favorite colors as well. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it because they have the most insane protection in all of eyewear, and every pair is backed with a lost or broken replacement. So if you don't love your shades, exchange it for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support as well. Exclusively for our listeners here, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people today. As we continue here on the DLLS Mavs podcast, the quickest way you can support us here is to like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports and join the over 23,000 subscribers already part of our DLLS Sports family. We'll get to some of your super chats coming up here in just a moment, but we'll dial at the Stein Line right here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. You can always dial up the Stein Line at the Stein Line on X. As Mark joining us in studio. Obviously, the NBA playoffs continue to roll on. Have seen some incredible games so far, but already taking a look toward next season as well when it comes to the schedule, particularly when it comes to the Lakers and, of course, our Dallas Mavericks here.
Yeah, I found out recently and reported this morning that you and I will have to find the nearest steel cage to wrestle. Who gets to rep? Cato's out. It's me and you for this one because it's Vegas, and we both love Vegas so much. Which one of us gets to go represent DLLS in Las Vegas in October? Because I'm told the Mavericks and the Lakers will be playing a preseason game in Sin City in October, and
why
Kevin Gray and Marc Stein both love.
Is it gonna be in Thomas and Mack or Ball Arena?
I believe
That's a deep cut summer league joke.
I'm about to say, because if it's anywhere
It
other,
could be in Thomas and Mack. They actually do.
it needs to be in T-Mobile Arena.
I
That's
believe
the only
that's
Yes, I'm
where
sure
it's going to be. I don't know that for sure, but yes, I would love for it to be at Thomas and Mack.
So that's I'll give context. When you're at summer league, you're always asking people, "Oh, I think I'm going to catch this game. Is it in this arena or this arena?" It's the two arenas. If you've ever been to summer league, it's it, and the concourse kind of connects the two.
So why would the Mavs want to play a game on a neutral site like that?
Excellent question. I do not know, and I have to find. I do not know if it's the Mavs game or the Lakers game. I do not know to which team it belongs.
So the Mavs are going to do training camp, presumably again out there, like they did last year.
I don't believe that's the case.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And I need to do. I don't want to say guesses because I know guesses get aggregated. So I will do more reporting and get you that answer. But I do not.
We're just asking you a bunch of bad questions right now.
No,
my bad.
No, this is what I'm here for.
We're grilling your ass, Mark.
No, but these are the gut reactions that probably our friends in the chat want to ask too. But like I said, I do not think training camp will be in Vegas again. But I need to.
Okay, can I ask a question then that isn't maybe directed at Mark? Maybe it's directed at you other two. Why would the Mavs do that? Why would you choose
to play in Vegas when I have training camp there?
But also, why would you choose to play the Lakers an additional time? Like in all likelihood, Luka won't even play that game. But why would you even risk the idea that you could add fuel to a narrative that you are desperately trying to avoid? At least because there's so many Lakers fans in Vegas, and if Dallas was having training camp out there, then I could at least get behind and understand it. That I don't get why you would add an extra game against the Lakers when you are desperately trying. Like, this is not the biggest thing in the world. But I don't get
awesome fury that I'm not trying to stifle, but just to
it's a valid question.
I need to make sure first again that it was whose exhibition game is it? Is it if it's the Lakers exhibition game that they want to play there, then it makes a lot more sense. If it is indeed a Mavs game that is there, then all of your fury is justified. And
my understanding, well, okay, I don't know if the Lakers ever do preseason games in Vegas, but I do know. Okay, I thought they did. But what I do know is that every Vegas Summer League game that the Lakers Summer League team the Summer Lakers are playing in, it's practically a home.
No, 100%. Vegas is a Lakers town.
Yeah, like
100%.
Think back to the Lonzo Ball, Ben Simmons.
But I need to do more reporting to answer the question: is this a Mavs game, a Lakers game, or did the NBA choose it? Because the NBA
does the NBA have control over this? A little bit.
I don't think so. I typically think teams make their own preseason schedules and choose the locales for these things.
Right.
But exhibition games in Vegas in recent years have become a pretty frequent thing. So,
right.
Man, I didn't realize how unprepared I was. I thought I was in good shape with this report this morning, but clearly I got to get back on. I got to make some sourcing calls and answer all these.
Which team will LeBron be playing for that night?
I believe. I believe he will still be a Laker. Again, that is purely a belief. I'm certainly not in a position to give you a guarantee. But look, LeBron has a player option for next season in excess of $50 million.
Yeah,
I do not believe he's going to turn that down to become a free agent. and get less than 50. He'd have to take
No
less than
state
50
taxes
million
in Texas.
pretty much anywhere else he goes. I don't foresee that happening. And I don't think he's especially easy to trade at age 40 with a $50+ million player option.
Yeah.
So I think the likely scenario, and it's funny now, my phone's blinging with sourcing calls. What are you guys doing to me over here?
I think he
Could have given you what you need right now.
I think he'd either be in Vegas for that game with the Lakers, the team he plays for, or maybe with the new ownership group that is hoping to get a franchise out there.
Like you guys said,
almost
are
certainly.
any of these guys even going to play in an exhibition?
Sure,
Right.
and I don't think this is a big deal, but like we're talking about on a show.
It's a big deal because anytime the Mavs and Lakers play from now on, it is a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal. The Mavs ended up with a game. It may end up with a game against them. I just think it's a little funny. I'll make a guess so that you don't have to. If the Mavs aren't having training camp out there, but the team still wants to, or the ownership would still love to see the team represented in Vegas, and the Lakers usually play out there. It might just be like convenience to check all these boxes, even with the whole Luka thing and the narrative thing that, again, probably isn't a big deal. But
I think we're burying the lead here. I'm sure it just fuels that much more in terms of the conspiracy theories that the Mavericks are moving to Las Vegas.
Oh, don't give that oxygen.
It's hilarious.
Well, that conspiracy theory is never going away, but it's like,
yes,
no,
it's not happening.
We have one more Stein report to get to, right?
Do we? We talking lottery?
Yeah,
is that on the list?
Go ahead.
I would like to talk about that.
The GOAT, the legend.
He's your GOAT,
dude. Dirk is, but
he
Roe
is a beautiful, beautiful human
Roe
being.
is just the best, man. I love that guy so much.
Yeah. So the Mavericks they didn't announce it. If you reached out to the Mavericks yesterday, they would tell you that it's the case. Rolando Blackman, the legendary Rolando Blackman, whose number 22 was retired by the team in March of 2000, he will be the Mavericks' front-facing, on-camera representative at Monday's draft lottery in Chicago, which I believe we're covering live, aren't we?
We are live watch along starting at 6 p.m. Central.
Watch along, post-game show. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, we ran out of time to talk about this, but I was trying to think about like what person within the Mavs org has the best Q score, like the most, fan popular. Like who would be an inoffensive choice that wouldn't bring more attention? Like what's the best PR choice? And Roe is a really good choice for that, I think. Out of everybody they could pick,
it's funny. Kev yesterday, Super Kev, kind of threw it out there. Who's going to rep the Mavs at the lottery? And we didn't have the answer yet. And I think one thing you would have to say is, you really, because of kind of the vibe and the state of everything, that it would have to be a current or former player who goes up there. No one in the Mavs executive suite was going to take the on-camera role. The last time the Mavericks were in the lottery, 2023, when they got Derek Lively, Nico was on the dais, and Michael Finley was in the back room, and I was lucky enough to have a seat in the back room because that was also
never done that.
That was also the Wemby lottery. I am not. I will be with you guys here Monday. I'm not going to Chicago, so I am told. The Mavericks have not announced who will be the backroom off-camera representative, but I am told that is unlikely to be Nico Harrison and more likely to be Michael Finley or Matt Riccardi from the Mavs front office, but it is not ultimately set in stone yet.
Makes sense. Is there any other
unbelievable person, great player?
Is there any other front of room on camera person who would have made sense for this? Because sometimes it is players currently employed by teams, but Kyrie is going into free agency, even if everybody expects him back, and also injury recovery. Also, I doubt he'd be interested in that. Same goes for Anthony Davis.
Kyrie would have been the only choice for me.
Yeah, I don't think Derek Lively makes sense. I don't think, certainly Max Christie, no. And at that point, you're just thinking, is there anybody else who's young and representative of the franchise? And no.
Well, Rolando Blackman is a perfect choice for the Mavericks to be able to represent.
I love
them
Rolando Blackman
in Chicago.
Rolando Blackman is responsible for one of my we've had this talk before about the All-Star game. Just again, I'm living in LA.
That was the moment.
I'm living in LA, and the confidence, baby, confidence when he makes those 2 free throws. Like, I can still feel what it was like to be that kid. I guess was
that like a transcendent moment for you?
Well, it's just like it's just what the All-Star game meant back then. Like, I was was that?
It was 87.
87.
Yeah.
So I'm in high school, and just like the All-Star game was magic then, because I didn't get to see the Dallas Mavericks play very often. Maybe one, if their game against the Lakers would be on TV, the Clippers were like barely on TV in those days. So it's like, that was my chance to see Rolando Blackman play. And just like that moment is just, I will never forget. And again, it's just like, I have friends from high school to this day who will just, this happens on Instagram, I guess, all the time. People will post the intros. Hey, the 1985 All-Star game. Here are the pregame introductions. And like that just, I love watching those, because it's like, oh my God, Dominique Wilkins. Oh my, like it just, these guys are in our lives now every second of every day because of social media. Like Luka today. Luka is at a game in Slovenia. Illyria is the team. His father, Sasha, is basically the GM. So Luka just got back to Slovenia. He's attending this game in Slovenia, and you can go on Twitter and find all kinds of still shots and video images of Luka at a game on another continent. And like, we get that coverage instantly, but like in 1987, we didn't. And so it was just, I saw Roe at one of the last regular season games, and like, that is just what I think of instantly. Like, I just flash back to 1987.
How many times in your life have you said confidence, baby, confidence?
That's his phrase. I can't say that.
By the way,
that's his.
Shout out to the NBA on NBC, who is going to be bringing back player introductions during their broadcasts. I'm actually very excited for that, to see player intros during the broadcast of NBA games going into to next year. It's really cool. Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, we grade the season of one Anthony Davis after he, of course, was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll do that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
But first, that was really loud. I'm sorry to your eardrums. Still a great time to become a diehard. Spring is springing and the Mavs season is over, but the Stars playoff run is hopefully only just beginning. Cowboys just made a big trade today for George Pickens. So we got Clarence and Joe on the beat that are going to be providing you all sorts of coverage and maybe also some insight into what the heck is next for the Cowboys, because they still got some holes on the roster to fill. The Rangers, they just made some big changes. They waived a player that's been around for a while, Leody Taveras. They just got a new hitting coach and offensive coordinator as well. So what the heck is going on there? Well, Jeff Wilson's got you covered there. And then obviously with the lottery coming up on Monday, it's about to be draft season. And so Tim Cato on the Mavs beat is going to be bringing you all sorts of coverage for the kinds of players, unless it's just an easy choice at number one, the kinds of players that could be in play for the Mavs, and then future transactions to come down the line. It is the perfect time to follow every sports team in town. The wing season starting up. We're going to have coverage for that as well on our website, alldlls.com. And so becoming a diehard unlocks all of that content for you. When you sign up, you also get a free shirt. You also get a physical diehard card.
Physical.
There it is.
Diehard card.
Oh my God, Mark, you are so
is.
strong.
Don't leave
This
home
is
without
incredible.
If you drop that, it would shatter the Empire Today floor. That
No,
thing
it
is
wouldn't.
made. That thing is denser than Jupiter.
No, it wouldn't.
Empire Today would withstand it. You're right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Any other floor.
It's diehard. It's diehard card proof. You also get to join the DLS Diehard Discord Lounge, a great place to hang out with fellow sports freaks like ourselves. You get to read the website, all of the great content that we have there. There are so many reasons. We just actually this morning passed 23,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is incredible. But if you want to take your support for us one step further, that is the best, most important, most incredible, most benefit-filled way to do it. So thank you for supporting us however you choose to. And hopefully this is just the beginning of a very long and beautiful journey.
AllDLLS.com. Become a diehard member today and join the over 23,000 subscribers here as part of our DLLS sports family. Before we grade Anthony Davis' season with the Dallas Mavericks, let's continue with our super chats here on the show. Classic Stein Lever with the $1.99 super chat. Kai can't relax in games without Luka 100% all game.
The hope would be that with AD, you'd be able to play through him a little bit, and it wouldn't be all on Kyrie every time. But, I mean, obviously in the weeks leading up to the injury, there was no AD, so it was just kind of
Right.
It was what it was.
Yeah. And, like, everybody understands that, you don't have to run your offense heliocentric through one player. We saw Dallas survive with a lot of shared touches, Najee getting in the mix. There's moments where PJ was empowered to be a driver. Obviously, there's so much ball handling pressure put on Kyrie. Brandon Williams has now been discovered and can be a bit of a revelation. But yeah, they just need one more guy to relieve some of that pressure. I don't know. I don't think I really made a point there.
It's okay. We'll
just saying things. Just saying words.
Billy always comes in with the point, though. With the $5 super chat this time, it may be the off season, but we will always support Yogi Ferrell and Salah Mejri.
We will.
Hashtag Mavs, David Lee for MVP.
Underrated run as a Mav. I think he had a 16-16 game in the playoffs, I want to say, or down the stretch that year.
Kind of just one of those guys who could play. Just knew how to play.
Yeah.
Knew how to ball. What year was he on the team?
15-16.
Is it that long ago?
Yep.
It's a decade.
Yeah.
Sheldon Fennell with the $4.99 super chat. If the Mavs blew this up and traded their older players, what could we get back?
It depends. It depends on what kind of need and demand there is. But honestly, at this point, if you're trying to trade older players with the intention of losing, then you need either a lot of young guys back or a lot of picks to make it worth it. Not sure, given AD and Kyrie are both dealing with very serious injuries, I'm not sure that the return that they would get right now would be, what you would hope for.
Yeah, I really worry that it would be. I've talked about this before. I don't think it would be more than 2 or 3 first rounders if you tried to gut the team, because in part because you have the urgency to do it, because you would have to, because teams will know you have to do it now.
It's all about leverage.
Yeah.
And also the idea of tanking when you don't have control over your picks in years 27 through 30 is kind of
not desirable.
Not great. Not great. So they're kind of in a pickle when it comes to their particular situation. Let's finish up our show by grading the season of one Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, of course, coming over in the trade for Luka. Dončić made his debut on February the 8th, put together 2.5 quarters of dominant basketball before, of course, he left for 6 weeks due to the left adductor strain. Was able to come back and eventually finished up his season scoring 40 points in the game in the loss to the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in game. But at the same time, a lot of mixed reaction for Anthony Davis in terms of his season.
And I felt bad putting this one on here. And I honestly didn't have it on here. But I got to a point where it's just hard to leave off Anthony Davis.
Sure.
If you're doing this exercise. Other than him, I put the cutoff at 800 minutes. So only players who played at least 800 minutes are on the survey, which means... Well, excluding Quentin Grimes, who played more than that, but it's off the team. Luka didn't even play 800 minutes for Dallas last season. But because Anthony Davis was traded for, I put him on the list. And yeah, rough responses, which I don't know if they're entirely fair as we take a look right now. Because I do think that there's some voting based off emotion and how you felt about the trade. So yeah, 40. But it's not overwhelmingly so. I mean, if you're looking at the 19% that said F, I don't think it's fair to say F on when he goes out with 44 points in the end. But the results are a sliver for A, 17% are B, 42% are C, and 21% are D, and then 19% F.
Yeah, the 19% for the letter grade F is kind of wild. Like, I get it. The
40% D, D or F.
Yeah, D or F.
40%.
Yeah, is kind of wild. I mean, yes, there's a lot of emotion that came with the trade in and of itself that should not be directed, in my humble opinion, toward the player in and of himself. The fact that he tried to get back and did come back to play for the Mavericks despite the adductor strain, he earns a lot of points from me from doing that, because I had been on record plenty of times saying that I did not think we would see Anthony Davis for the remainder of the regular season, and did not think necessarily it was in the best interest of the Mavericks for him to do that. But he said, damn that, I'm going to come back and play for my teammates, because he saw what they were going through, according to his own words, and wanted to get out there and play. So for me, that says a lot about the player in and of himself, the fact that he was willing to get himself to a point where he could try to
The
play.
best answer was not an option. It's incomplete.
100%. 100%. That's why I said it. You know, I feel bad. Even now, I wonder, you know, what do we really gain from this? What I'll say is this. Anthony Davis season, graded based off the expectations you had for him. Functionally, the expectations you had for Anthony Davis are the expectations you had for the best player on the team. And so the expectations for Luka Dončić going into this year is that Luka Dončić was going to do enough, no matter what happened around him, to get Dallas to the playoffs, to get them at least around into the postseason. That is the base level expectations you have for the best player on your team after you just went to the NBA Finals. Anthony Davis came here. He assumed those responsibilities, those expectations, and he didn't deliver. And it's really unfortunate that a lot of that was injury, but he did not deliver on them. And so in that context, a C feels fine.
Yeah,
And-
it's tough because, I mean, in his first game, he was unbelievable. In the last game, he was unbelievable. And everything in between was either injured or coming back from injury.
Mhm.
Obviously, the quality of play on the floor, once he got back from injury, really until that Memphis game, was, for the most part, inconsistent to below average. I would certainly say substandard in some of those games that they lost, in particular. Like that Brooklyn game, he had like 12 points or something.
Yeah.
Against the Lakers
Yeah,
in
the
that
Lakers
game.
game
I mean,
for
he was
sure.
just not very good. So, now a lot of that is he probably shouldn't have been playing. And I think that we all had issue with the Mavs allowing him to play,
Agreed.
honestly. Like, I don't
Agreed.
blame him for wanting to get out there. But, yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't up to snuff. So, hopefully, what he is able to do next year is obviously much more productive and much more consistent, closer to that game against Houston and the game against Memphis. I don't expect him to score 40 a game or even 30 a game, but certainly flirting with 20 and 10 every night, get a couple blocks, maybe, command some double teams, do some stuff, be a consistent force at both ends of the floor.
The game against
That's what
Atlanta
Nico
was-
sees in him, is a guy that plays two ways, that is an excellent defender and a very, very, very good offensive player. And so I guess that is the expectation for him. Can he meet that? If not,
Can
then,
I
we'll
say
see.
something really funny, though?
It better be funny.
It is pretty funny. You said you want him to flirt with 2010 every night.
Yes.
And we already acknowledged he had some duds of a game.
Mhm.
He did have 12 points in that loss to Brooklyn. Not even counting the play-in tournament. Anthony Davis regular season averages in the 9 games he played for Dallas, 20 points, 10 rebounds.
Wow.
Maybe this is the Anthony Davis.
It's funny that that's the case, because
It better be
there was
funny.
always that there was always that sentiment with KP too, of like, this guy just kind of, he doesn't really do it, but like he averaged 20 and 10 as a Mav.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
I really have I believe that because I saw it on your laptop screen. But
You
like,
questioning the damn numbers?
I don't remember the good games he had. He had the
Atlanta
good Houston game and the good
Atlanta game was
The Atlanta game was good. He had the
Yeah,
game winner in
he had
that
the game
game.
winner
and
in
that
that game.
That
That
was
was
really good.
34.
Yeah.
Oh, 34. Okay.
yeah.
And then he had 27 against the Clippers and a big loss. So that 27 was a little bit forgettable.
Yeah. Well, it counted
Yeah.
for sleeper, but yeah.
Big for Bobby personally, yes.
Yeah, so he had more games under 20 than he had games over 20. But those 20 points or the games that where he spiked into the 30s brought his average up to 20. He averaged 25 with the Lakers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean,
certainly
you
we don't think we saw the best, the
And what was that-
absolute best.
What was that crazy triple-double he had against Toronto? And
Yeah, I mean,
nearly, I know it's
that
just
does
against
count.
Toronto.
That does count, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
but
an incredible
23,
stat line.
13, 10, 7.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost had 10 blocks
Almost
in
a
that
quad.
game.
Yeah, no
Um,
steals, though.
The thing is, though, even with Kyrie, but especially without Kyrie, they need him to be the best player. And I
Yeah.
said this, I don't even remember whether it was a regular season or playing, but like, he's got to be the best player all the time. And there were games where he wasn't. Now, granted, he was coming back from injury and he might not have even should have been playing at all. But that's what they need from him next year, is every single night, he's got to be the best, most impactful player for the team.
Mhm.
And even if that's you score 14 points, kind of have a lousy game on offense, but you're really good on defense, you're getting some boards, you're drawing some attention, creating advantages for your teammates elsewhere, covering up for weaknesses elsewhere. So if he can do that, yeah. But I mean, that it is actually pretty funny that he averaged 20 and 10.
Yeah, and in 20 points, if he averaged 20 points for the whole season, that would be the fewest points he's ever scored in any season of his career other than his rookie year. So I don't think 32-year-old Anthony Davis is actually on the decline. Not to that extent. I do think that was much more about his injury. Now, physical decline, his availability. Maybe we can have that conversation. We'll see how things go. But I don't think that was fully representative of him, but it is funny.
That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. We sincerely appreciate all of you joining us here. Thank you to all of you for your super chats as well. Sincerely appreciate that. Thank you to our guy Tanner for making this look good and sound good as always. Appreciate you, sir. We will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m., of course, right here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel while you're here.
Tanner and I have something. We're working on something.
I know. We look forward to that as the rest of the week goes on. That is our National NBA Insider.
That was not a. That was that was the most insincere Kevin Gray response to anything I've ever said in the history of this show.
That's Marc Stein. That's Bobby Curl. That's Tim Cato. I'm Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.